Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Hi there to all of you viewers of Equinoxe Television. Welcome back from the weekend. It's time for the news. Thank you so much for joining us. Our major stories tonight: inhabitants of rendezvous quarters in Bamenda now use alternative routes to get to other parts of the Northwest Regional Headquarters after a major bridge in the area collapsed over the weekend following heavy rains. How have the people been coping? We will be telling you more in this edition of the news. And in Douala, local inhabitants say their houses have been invaded, or the entire city have been invaded by mosquitoes. City dwellers complain even insecticides can't repel the mosquitoes, which are vectors of the killer disease malaria. And we will be taking you to the United States of America with updates on the Trump assassination attempts. Viewers, those are our major stories today when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. We begin with this human interest story from Limbe. It is an update of the director of the multi-purpose center in Limbe, who alleged he committed suicide some time ago. Our Limbe regional correspondent, Davidson Maimo, tells us that since his demise, other colleagues are afraid to go to work. Davidson Maimo, you have more. We come back to this report by Davidson Maimo. He brings us updates after the death or the alleged suicide of the director of the Youth Multipurpose Center in Limbe. Davidson tells us that his co-workers or other colleagues have refused to go to work until the place is cleansed. Let's now have more with you, Davidson. We will be coming back to that report in this edition of the news in the course of this newscast. Now we take you to Bamenda, where inhabitants of the Northwest Regional Headquarters have decried the neglect of a bridge which collapsed that was over the weekend after heavy rains. Now they have to use alternative routes to get to other parts of Bamenda, as Mbu Stella tells us in the report which comes up next.
Eyewitnesses report that the collapse of the bridge, popularly known as La Chance, occurred without warning, causing immediate chaos and concern among locals. One witness, who was nearby when the bridge gave way, described the scene.
So at the daytime, I don't come and say my bridge collapsed. I want to come now, the bridge don't the crack. So I try for see whether I did video. But I say, I will continue for make accident over, because the car will speed, they never know the problem there, or road don't get problem.
Despite the urgent need for intervention, no emergency measures have been taken since the collapse. The lack of a timely response has left road users anxious about the potentials for accidents. The local residents have taken matters into their own hands, placing iron bars to barricade the roads and prevent vehicles from approaching the collapsed structure on high speed. A local man who helped set up the barricade expressed his frustration. The absence of an emergency response from both security forces and the city council has left many residents fearful of potential casualties. The stretch of road leading to the bridge is known for high-speed traffic, increasing the urgency of official intervention to secure the population.
And now we talk health. Inhabitants of the economic capital Douala say their houses and even their rooms have been invaded by mosquitoes, which are vectors of the killer disease malaria. They say even insecticides can no more repel mosquitoes in Douala. Mala Glory went to some neighborhoods of the economic capital Douala and now tells us what she heard and what she saw.
Makepe Misoke and Vale Besengue are two different neighborhoods in the city of Douala. The environment in these areas are not well kept and serve as a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Via standing waters with pungent smell due to blocked drainage system. Many here say they are prone to malaria as a result of this.
Regardez comment l'eau est polluée. Regardez, on ne parvient pas à respirer. Toute la saleté qui vient dans tous les recoins de Douala se trouve ici. Et c'est là où les enfants sont morts l'autre jour. Or, si l'eau passait bien avec la propreté, on ne devrait pas avoir cet incident.
On peut faire un mois sans avoir un problème de paludisme. Les enfants, c'est grave. Et ça nous laisse les boutons sur le corps. Déjà, du coup, il ne faut pas oublier que les draps ne sont même pas nettoyés.
Je ne peux pas apprendre. Je suis obligée d'apprendre quand je joue. Je ne peux pas apprendre la nuit. Tu apprends la nuit, les moustiques vont te déranger.
Malaria is caused by Plasmodium parasite and it is spread to humans through a bite from infected mosquitoes. Pregnant women and children are the worst hit. Worried by this, residents plead with the authorities concerned to react for the safety of the population.
Et que de temps à autre, là, on nous donne quelque chose. C'est-à-dire qu'on vient désinfecter, comme on faisait avant. On désinfectait, il y avait des produits là qu'on désinfectait avec. Mais là, maintenant, il n'y a pas moyen de vivre comme ça.
Si on pouvait le gouvernement pouvait nous aider pour le drain, pour arranger au moins le quartier si bien. Ce que les moustiques ne nous dérangent plus comme ça dérange là.
Makepe Misoke, Vale Besengue, just like other neighborhoods in the city of Douala, are exposed to mosquitoes due to standing waters and heap of garbage littered around. And the situation has been worsened by the rains, which often cause flooding, pushing dirt into people's home. While locals are advised to keep the environment clean, they urge the government to reinforce measures.
From Douala, we take you to the Central Region. A ministerial decision which declared the reigning chief of Songland, a village in the Central Region, His Royal Highness Chief Makon Mahel, illegitimate, is bringing some division among the local population of the Nyong and Ekele division. In one of the visits to the village recently, the divisional officer of Dibang was overtly stopped by the acting ruler, Chief Makon Mahel, from entering into his village. Simandi Gabriel tells us more.
Vous n'avez plus de droit parce que je reste chef jusqu'à l'heure actuelle.
His Royal Highness Chief Makon of Songlang Village in Dibang Subdivision tells the divisional officer of Dibang that he has no right to get into his village. He adds, I am the chief in my village with 18 years of reign. I'm the only existing son of my father and the automatic successor of my father. The blockage of the road denying access to the divisional officer came after the divisional officer dethroned Chief Makon, who has ruled the village for about 18 years now, in favor of the son of the regent chief who lives in Europe without any consultative talks. They dethroned me, saying I'm illegitimate. What illegitimate are you talking about? According to the dethroned chief, the chief they want to enthrone got his senior brother well beaten in front of the divisional officer and the forces of law and order, but he wasn't cautioned. What is it? Didn't I participate in the May 20 celebrations? Didn't I pay my contribution for May 20 and 11th of February? What injustice? This Cameroon now. Songlen village is now divided, with some inhabitants behind the new chief and a majority with the chief who has ruled the community for the past 18 years.
And now over to the sad news element. A Cameroonian whose name we got as William Chechu was stabbed to death brutally in Germany. That was over the weekend. According to eyewitnesses, the death of Chechu follows an argument or a disagreement over a public parking space, an incident which was not really welcomed by many Cameroonians living in Berlin in Germany, who quickly manifested or protested that was in the public. Let's now have more with Cedric Chakuchu.
Thursday, July 11, 2024, William Cheju was fatally stabbed in a parking in Gazenbrennen by an Arab who was immediately arrested by the police. According to initial information, this death followed a trivial disagreement in a public parking which led to an altercation during which Mr. Cheju was stabbed in the presence of several witnesses. Unfortunately, the Cameroonian, who had lived in Brandenburg, a small quarter in the north of Berlin, for several years, could not be saved by emergency services because of the severity of his injuries. This incident, which was qualified as barbaric by Cameroonians living in Berlin, went on the streets to manifest their anger. On social media too, public personalities and bloggers reacted and called for justice on this case, while sharing the emotions and sadness felt by the Cameroonian community after this heinous act. The Cameroonian ambassador in the Federal Republic of Germany calls on his compatriots to calm and reflect while awaiting the continuation of the investigation and the legal procedure which follows.
And now that takes us to news out of Cameroon. Former U.S. President Donald Trump continues with his Republican National Convention today. This comes a day after he survived an assassination attempt during a political campaign rally that was in Pennsylvania. During the ongoing convention, Donald Trump will officially be nominated as Republican presidential candidate. He is also expected to name his running mate, who would become vice president if he wins November's election. Meantime, President Joe Biden has urged Americans to maintain peace and unity. Lucy Diengu is here, has the details.
24 hours after the attempted assassination, former U.S. President Donald Trump is in Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention, where he will officially be nominated as the Republican presidential candidate. The party's conference in Milwaukee takes place as planned, despite Saturday's attack at a rally in Pennsylvania. Speaking to the press, Donald Trump said he could not allow the incidents change his schedule. The campaign chiefs designed the convention opening this week to feature a softer and more optimistic message, focusing on themes that will help Donald Trump to expand his appeal among the voters. Trump is also expected to convey a speech on Thursday after he accepts his party's formal nomination at the Republican National Convention. Speaking to a Washington Examiner, he said there is a chance to bring the whole country and even the world together. He called for calm and unity, while President Joe Biden and lawmakers from both parties are urging Americans to reject political violence and promote unity. Biden has also urged Americans to let the current polarized climate cool as the FBI warns of increasing violence. However, the director of the U.S. Secret Service says she is confident of the security measures put in place to ensure that the Republican National Convention ends hitch-free. Meantime, it is still unclear why the man identified as crooks tried to assassinate former President Donald Trump during the political rally this Saturday. Investigations have been launched.
And now we talk sports. The 6 athletes representing the country at the Olympic Games are now getting used to the climate of host country France and the city of Paris. In our Olympic Games speech today, we present to you the flag bearer of Team Cameroon, Rachel Anita Sopimbela, competing in the judo discipline. Smart Jikan Gabriel with the details.
34 years old Rachel Anita Sopimbela is one of the medal hopefuls for Team Cameroon at the Olympic Games. The judoka will be at his first experience and participation at an Olympic Games, but she is one of the athletes Cameroon will be looking up to for a medal. Rachel Anita Sopimbela has been a powerhouse for Cameroon with a cupboard filled with medals. At the Pan-African Games in Accra, Ghana, Rachel Anita Sopimbela harvested 3 medals in the mixed judo category. At the Judo African Championship in Cairo, Egypt, Rachel Anita Sopimbela, after defeating Senegalese opponent Georgette Sangna in the 78-kilogram judo bout, won gold medal, enabling Cameroon to finish 6th at the tournament. In the same 2014, at the Judo African Open competition in Luanda, Angola, that of Marrakesh, Morocco, and Abidjan in Cote d'Ivoire, respectively, Richelle Anita Sopimbela won gold medals. Her success story in the different competitions this year made the government to name her as one of the flag bearers of the country for the Olympic Games. Many are now expecting Richelle Anita Sopimbela to be one of the gold medalists at the end of the Summer Olympics in Paris, France.
Thanks much for that report, which brings us to the end of this edition of the news. Thank you, viewers, for always being with us. Don't go away. Our programs continue. Bye-bye for now.